Hi, I'm Libby Gibson, Town Manager. Welcome to What's Going On in Town Government. Okay. Oh my gosh, a walk by. Hi, John.
Hi Libby. Hi, Gino. How you guys
John,
doing?
how are you, man?
Excellent. How are you?
Come on over for a second.
I gotta go.
Where are you going?
Get ready for a show.
He's really busy.
You got an antique business?
I do.
Okay.
Yeah. Come on by and visit, Gino.
Okay, buddy.
Bye, Libby.
Okay.
Bye, John.
We wanted him to come over and talk to us.
I know, but we're busy too, and so he's very busy this time of year. But finally, we had somebody we knew that walked by. We're always waiting for a walk by. So.
All right.
Was that Diana Brown? That just walked by. She would have been a really good walk by too.
Well, let's get anybody else to bring him by.
So, okay.
Yeah.
But what's my show called again?
What's
going on in town government?
Yeah.
So, what I try to talk about is, I'm so distracted now. What is going on in town government? And for visitors, we have a Board of Selectmen that meets every other week during the summer, every week the rest of the year. And a lot of people are very involved in town government. We got a lot of volunteers for committees and things, and we take town government very seriously. So, we had a couple meetings last night. We had a county commissioners meeting at which we discussed at some length some takings that we are in the process of initiating for an in-town bike path. And this bike path will run from about the end of Washington Street Extension over to Orange Street through the old railroad bed, and then eventually it will go out to the Rotary. So we were talking about the side of the road that it's going to be on. There was an abutter on one side that wants it on the other side, and a abutter on the other side that wants it on the other side. So that will eventually come to fruition, but it is going to be a while. And this is among the first steps to getting it done.
But you mentioned the key word there, Libby, was taking.
Yes, there are some eminent domain
takings. Tell people what that means.
Eminent domain takings, which means the government can take your property for very specific purposes, and you are reimbursed a damage award for that reason.
Okay.
I think that girl laughed at me.
I wouldn't let any of those kids get
I'm going to go
you.
after her.
Don't let them get to you.
It's really too bad that drilling is going on behind us, but there's
it's all right. It's not bad. We're picking you up good. Yeah.
So eminent domain is a power of a government to take private property, but must be reimbursed the full and fair market value. So some of these takings that we're talking about are simply temporary easements or construction easements, which basically means we have to use your property in order to do the project, and then your property goes back to you. It's not permanent.
Right.
And there's a bit of that. There is some permanent as well. Board of Selectmen, we had Real Estate Wednesdays. We had a number of real estate items. We also have had a request from an applicant for a medical marijuana dispensary. Every county in the state, through legislation that was approved a couple of years ago, is supposed to have one dispensary, at least one dispensary in every county. So we've gotten our application for it, and from the private party that wants to do it, their proposed location is 27 Old South Road. They do need to go through a very rigorous review and application process through the state.
Where is that location?
27 Old South Road.
Where is that actually?
It's sort of near Key Post Corner, in between Amelia Drive and Key Post Corner.
Okay.
And this is one of the steps that needs to be taken to have the application be accepted by the state, and then the state undergoes a very particular process. There will also be a public hearing with the planning board for a special permit for the facility, and that will allow abutters to come and express any concerns or ask questions or things like that.
Now,
and that will be noticed.
Does the town have a position on this?
Well, the board voted to issue a letter of non-opposition.
Okay.
Just a business.
How's the chief of police feel about this?
I don't think he's excited about it.
No, I don't either.
I don't think any police in any town are excited about it. It's potential for additional issues for the community and the police.
Yeah.
Potential, I say. We'll have to see. Some people would argue that it's not too much different than a drugstore. I don't really know why drugstores aren't.
Or a liquor store.
Issuing it.
I mean, come on, right?
Yeah. So we'll see how it
Now, I have
gets
another
through the
question.
process.
Will he be growing it on island? Because isn't there a law against moving
transporting it
Yeah.
over water. Yes. He will have to grow it at his facility, and this is all part of his application. It all will be contained. You will not be able to see in the facility to view the growing area, but there will be a growing area in there. That is where they will grow it.
And so he's going to have a variety of different flavors and strains, and right, and it's all medical
Right.
for all medical purposes, right?
Right.
Yeah.
That is.
All right.
We also had a public hearing on a cultural district, which is a designated area where cultural activities and things would be organized and coordinated and happen. There's the possibility, if you establish your designated area as a cultural district, of state funds. I'm not sure they're available right now, and it's not a lot of money, but we've been talking about it for quite a while. And the board actually did vote a resolution to approve the cultural district. So it will be recognized throughout the state. It gets you into a kind of a social media loop and on the state website for cultural activities that are happening in your town, which promotes tourism and visitors and the economy and things like that.
But
So
don't we
was
do
good.
that anyway?
Well, we don't have one designated area. This will be shown on a map. This is where cultural activities occur. They can certainly occur outside of that area as well, but this is the area that's sort of recognized by the state as the place on the island for cultural activities. It's a good thing.
Is it okay?
It is.
I'm
Yep.
just trying to get my head around how that. Does it cost us any money?
No.
Does
And-
it hurt
and-
anybody that isn't in the cultural district?
I don't think
That's
so, but you
not-
can also have more than one.
Okay.
And you can probably adjust your boundaries from time to time. It's a destination that's valid for 5 years. So actually,
right.
I guess at the end of that time, you could reevaluate it and see if you want to change it.
And
There's
are
a-
there
there's a-
other cultural districts in little other small?
Oh yes,
Yeah.
Barnstable has 2, for example.
I see.
There are other towns on the Cape that have them. They're throughout the state.
All right.
We discussed our pilot parking program that we were trying to do for no unattended parking on Lower Main Street and Candle Street. That turned out not to really be. Another walk by. Hi, Joe.
Joe's very shy.
Okay, Joe's shy. He doesn't want to be on camera. Joe is on the Council on Aging.
Sure is.
He is a great person. He used to be the elementary school principal
That's
and the
it.
high school principal.
Right.
Okay. So back to the pilot parking program. It wasn't really functioning the way we had envisioned or hoped. So we've gone back to making half of Lower Main from about midway down town tour vehicle and taxi parking only, and then the other half from about halfway to Best of the Beach area, 30-minute parking. Candle Street will be town tour and taxi vehicle parking only. So we've gone back to it. Tried it, didn't really work out that great, so we're going back. We talked about sewer project funding, and the board has been kind of grappling with. We have a number of sewer projects coming up. How are we going to pay for them? So what they've boiled down to is the projects are going to be bettered, meaning the abutters will pay a portion of the people who are bettered by the project, which would be abutters, will be bettered a portion of the project, meaning they will be assessed a portion of it. So the board was talking about 50-50, 40-60, 30-70, meaning 50-50, the town would pay 50%, the abutters would pay 50%. 40-60, the town would pay 40, the abutters would pay 60, and so on. So we looked at different scenarios that the finance director prepared. I think the board is pretty well settled on the town paying 40, the abutters paying 60. And there's a whole process in accordance with Mass General Law under which betterments are assessed, including the length of time that you have to pay back the betterment. They would like to have people be able to pay it back over 30 years instead of 20, which will potentially require special legislation. So in between now and the next board meeting, staff is charged with finding out more about how quickly that 30-year option could be achieved, so that we would be able to let people know when we're talking about these betterments and the financing of these projects at the next town meeting, how long of a time they would have to pay for it. If you pay for it over 30 years, obviously it's going to cost a little bit less annually.
And
You
you're
follow?
talking about the homeowner taking a
The
30-year,
property owner,
getting a 30-year.
time in which to pay back the betterment. So for example, and these are not real numbers, so
Just any number, use an
say
abstract number.
that the cost to each property owner in a particular area that is going to be sewered is $10,000. Homeowner would pay $5,000. The town, well, pretend it was 50-50 for a second,
All right,
because
yeah.
now I just,
Okay, yeah.
the owner would pay $5,000, the town would pay $5,000. You would be able, as the homeowner, you would be able to pay the $5,000 back over a period of 30 years.
Is that what the town's planning to do? Is the town taking 30 years to pay it back too? Are they loaning the money, or where are we getting
Well,
the money?
The money will be hopefully a loan from the state, a low interest loan. And I'm actually not sure, I don't remember the period of time over which the town has to pay it back. I believe the town does have a 30-year option.
Okay.
So we want to make sure the homeowner would as well. But you do need special legislation, because under state law right now, you only have 20 years to pay it back.
Okay.
So there's a little bit more to be done on this, but the board
What
intends...
kind of money are we looking at, Libby?
We're looking at $10 million-ish.
For the whole-
10 to
to-
15 million. That's for one project.
How many projects are we
There
gonna-
are several sewer projects.
like
in
10?
our... No, not 10. Maybe, I don't remember. I don't want to say a wrong number and then have
All
somebody
right.
say that was wrong.
But not that many. But still
There's not
a
10.
lot.
There's a lot. There,
So,
maybe
and
there
each
are
one's 10 million?
No.
Okay.
Let me back this up. In 2004, the town did a comprehensive wastewater management plan, which is required by state law. We were one of the first towns to have one done. And basically it outlines how your town is going to deal with wastewater. One of the findings out of the initial CWMP was the establishment of various needs areas around the island. Those are areas where wastewater needs to be addressed, because septic systems, for example, are not sufficient for a variety of reasons, mostly water quality in harbors and other areas. So this plan was sort of laid out back then. And
right.
so far we've upgraded the sewer treatment plant, which now is going to need an additional upgrade to accommodate all these additional needs areas that are coming into play as a result of the CWMP update, which we've just completed. Okay?
All right, got it.
Some of the, another thing, for example, that came out of the CWMP is downtown sewer rehabilitation projects. Most recently, we finished what was called Phase 2B, which was a downtown project that finally got completed over 2012 and 2013 and a little bit into 2014. Just as an example, and that project was between $5 and $7 million, somewhere around there.
All right.
One of the projects that the board is going to put forward at least one project, maybe more, but definitely one, to the 2016 annual town meeting, at least as of last night at their meeting. And that is the so-called Monomoy needs area, which isn't actually Monomoy, but it's adjacent areas to Monomoy and a little bit of Monomoy, as well as some parcels that we've been calling them the plus parcels, because they are additional parcels to the initial plan to sewer areas around the island.
Okay.
And these are areas that don't currently have sewer, mostly in the mid-island and outskirts of town areas. That project, I want to say, is about $10.1 million. I hope that's a correct number. I believe that's what I heard last night at the meeting, but it's all contained in the CWMP update, which is online. But it is a big document. There's 2 volumes of the update report, and a lot of it is data, and the readable portion of it talks about why we need to do this, where we need to do this, how we need to do this.
It has to be done.
Eventually it's going to have to be done.
The state says you have to sewer
Or
this, your island.
now over a long period of time, in all likelihood, just about all of it is going to have to be done. But this sort of stems back to what's called TMDL, total managed daily load, and that is the load of nitrogen that's acceptable or not in the various estuaries around the island, most mainly the harbors, Nantucket Harbor and Mattocket, and also the ponds. So if our TMDLs are below the established level, which some areas are, but not all, if they're higher than that, you need to do something.
Got it.
We have some areas that are higher than that. Now, when I say higher, if you look at a chart that says what the TMDL is supposed to be and what ours is, it'll look like a minuscule difference. But in the reality of things, it's not that minuscule. And it is a threshold that you are not supposed to exceed.
Okay.
I hope I've explained that kind of okay.
That's
I'm not
good.
really the best
No, I
explainer
got
of
it.
it. I try to explain it in very basic terms.
How do they test for those? Just curious.
There
Do
are
they do it
regular tests.
do they go into the ponds to test it?
Oh
or-
yes,
Yeah, okay.
yes. There are. This isn't the exact word, but they're sort of testing stations
Yeah.
all around Nantucket Harbor and Mattocket
All
Harbor,
right.
and they're tested on a regular basis. So back to the money and the projects. At very minimum, we're putting forward this Monomoy Town Parcels project, which is about $10 million, and that will be, in all likelihood, broken up between the town and the abutting properties that will be bettered by having sewer available to them. Probably the town would pay 40%, those abutters would pay 60%. At least that's what the board was discussing
All right.
last night.
Got it.
We are going to be discussing this again at our meeting on August 5th.
And if people don't like it, what can they do?
They can go to the board meeting and discuss it with the board. We're
right.
also going to be needing to put together a public outreach program because this is a big amount of money that we're talking about. And we'll be going around to various neighborhood groups and associations and the public and the community to discuss it in preparation for next year's town meeting.
All right. Got it.
We also had an item on our agenda about events that take place on town property that are not sanctioned that involve alcohol. The biggest example being 4th of July at Nobodere Beach. And this was meant to be a discussion that involved some groups like the Alliance Against Substance Abuse, the Alliance for Substance Abuse Prevention, the hospital, the Visitor Services Advisory Committee, the Chamber of Commerce, the Lodging Association, groups like that. In retrospect, I would have tried to place this matter earlier on the agenda, but as it turned out, it was at close to the end of the agenda, and we had a long meeting. So by the time we got to that item, there wasn't a lot of appetite to keep having extended discussion about something. So the board, I think, has been getting feedback, though, from constituents and people in the community about their distaste for this kind of activity that happened at 4th of July
What
at
happened?
Nobodere. Well, there was an extremely large crowd of thousands and thousands of people, and a lot of them were badly behaved, and there was drinking, and there was a lot of activity that happened in spillover activity and on the beach. You know,
At Nobodere?
at Nobodere, and there were other places too, but it was most noticeable, I think, at Nobodere. There were a lot of porta potties there were a lot of dumpsters there, but apparently they weren't enough. So
Oh.
those types of things spilled over, if you know what I mean, into adjacent areas. People were walking up and down Nobodere, Nantum and Nobodere Ave, Nobodere Road with open containers, and you know, we only have so many police that can only do so much. And they did what they could.
Were
But,
they drunk?
oh yeah, not
So
the
it was
police.
no, I understand that. So it was
A
a
lot of
drunken.
people were drunk.
It was a out of control drunken kind of party.
I think that's how a
And
lot of
people
people would
don't like
describe
it.
it.
Okay.
And people don't like it, right. So I think the board's been getting feedback on this, and it wasn't only 4th of July. We had some negative feedback from the community about Memorial Day weekend and drinking that seems to have happened there that sort of spilled over into other areas. So the board basically said we want to shut this thing down, this Nobodere event.
Just like they shut the Mattocket
Well,
Jam down.
yeah, but let's just think about this for a second. The Mattocket Jam situation was not the same thing. Between then and now, might have been the same type of concept,
Yeah.
but with social media and more development around beach areas, it's a different situation now. Also, if we try to shut down Nobodere, there is going to be spillover to other areas. 40th Pole is a popular area as well, and I can see people saying, well, this isn't going to work, let's go somewhere else. So we need to figure out a way to try to deal with that.
Can't we do it in a more just kind of coaxing people not to do it instead of just coming down hard?
Well, I think
saying,
that we're going to try a lot of different approaches, and the final definitive approach might be a hard hand on this, and maybe some kind of a no tolerance, zero tolerance policy. But we need groups in the community and the Board of Selectmen to really be 100% behind this, or it's not really going to work.
All right.
In any event, there's going to be a lot more discussion about this, I believe, as we proceed through the fall. And we were pretty much charged with coming up with a plan, which the police department has already started to try to gather together. We've been talking today a little bit in the office about social media ways to get the word out that we're not, this isn't what Nantucket is all about. So please don't come here for that purpose. Come here to have fun, yes, have a good time, but not to be a drunken mess and pass out on the beaches and other unpleasantness.
Okay.
So, like I say, I think we're going to get more into that as we proceed on. Next Monday, I think this will probably air before next Monday, right?
Oh, yeah.
The 27th, the Nantucket Community Association hosts its annual forum at the Athenaeum at 9:30, where they invite myself and the board members to come and talk to the community, including summer visitors, about various topics. We each talk for about 5 minutes or so about a particular item or issue, and then there's a Q&A, question and answer session right after that. So I'm going to be talking a little bit about upcoming capital projects, specifically infrastructure and town building projects. And I think another board member is going to talk about affordable housing efforts. Another one is going to talk about these sewer projects. And the other one is going to talk about transportation improvements for pedestrians and bikes. So that's pretty much it. We are on our summer schedule, so the board next meets on August 5th. And it is busy here.
Yes, it is.
I know we all know that. So let's just try, I know it's really hard, and I am no exception. Let's try to be more patient with each other.
That's
I know
a very-
not everybody is on vacation here. Like, oh, that was so gross.
I didn't see it.
Spitting. I really, really have a pet peeve about spitting. That is absolutely disgusting.
So you can't watch a baseball game? No way.
Well, see, that's a place where it's acceptable. It's not
That's
really
true.
acceptable to walk across the street and spit in front of everybody. That's just gross.
I didn't see it, so
Okay,
I
if we
can't
weren't sitting
comment.
here like this, I would have said something to that person.
All right.
But obviously I can't do that, like in a polite way. Sir, really?
Is that what you would do?
I would do
Is that
something
what-
like that.
Okay. Well, you did it, and you know what? Your point was made.
He might have heard it
I have a
all
question
over
for you.
Yes.
What's with the half mast?
That is for the Marines that were killed in Tennessee recently by the terrorists.
Okay. That's been
We had
up,
an email
down the-
today
Okay.
from the governor's office, which extended the half mast through Monday the 27th.
All right. All right. Because I see them everywhere, and I know people are wondering.
That's why.
All right.
Okay, I think that's it for now. Thanks very much. See you next time.